Good. How are you?
Very good, very good. How's it going? How's the lockdown treating you?
Good. Today is a good day. Like everything else, I'm having good days and bad days. So today has been decent.
Mm-hmm.
I've been active and yeah, happy.
Okay. So what makes you say that there have been bad days, so to say? Why do you say that? What is the reason for that? Do you think?
Sometimes, like when you're so obviously because we have so much time on our hands. Like for me, for example, and I live alone, so I'm constantly on social media. I'm
Yeah.
on or whatever, and I keep reading all these news articles about the migrant workers and in and just so many other things. And sometimes it just happens when you're in a bad. I mean, when you start reading something bad, and then you only see bad things, then you
Yeah.
don't bad news. So you have to shut yourself out. I sometimes just turn my phone off or make sure that I keep it away and I don't go on or anything, for a long time, because
Mhm.
then you go down a spiral. Like then
Yeah.
you just looking at negative news, and then everything seems to be dark and sad and low. you know.
Absolutely, I'm doing that. I stopped reading news first thing in the morning. I
Yeah.
have detoxed from the WhatsApp groups because I
Same.
said I don't want the same, you
Like,
know.
the minute I'm having my chai or coffee, I would go through all these news articles, and then
Yeah.
that's the worst thing to do, because then that sets the tone of the rest of your day.
Exactly, exactly. And
So,
because we are at home, we don't have any outlet. We are not, going out or anything like that. Then that kind of plays on one's mind, isn't it? And being a psychology graduate, you know how
yeah.
it is. So, are you
Yeah.
applying any of the psychology skills to your life now?
Uh, I end up applying it. In general, I'm just very fond of psychology. So I'm, it around you all the time. Like
Hmm.
you can, whether you're talking to your friends, then you see
Yeah,
patterns,
yeah,
behavior, or things like that. Then, or if you're even in acting, like when you're building a character, you can always add a certain
hmm.
aspect uh, from that. Like I love doing that. So like birth order theory is a
Hmm.
very prominent theory in psychology. It tells you that the whether you're the firstborn or the youngest or the middle child, depending on that,
Yeah,
like the qualities that you imbibe, and of course it's part of conditioning, and
yeah.
there are no fast, but in more general cases. So I try that in my sometimes, so that I end up doing a
So,
lot.
so who's your favorite philosopher slash psychologist? Is it Adler? Is it Freud? Who do
Right.
you believe? Which philosophy do you follow in?
Completely. I'm a hardcore Freud bhakt.
In fact, just recently, I mean, this is great to speak to you about psychology because I am a psychology student myself.
Oh,
Last
love.
4 years, I went back to studying, and I am now currently pursuing my second master's in psychology. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
really intriguing for me as well.
I I want to do my masters.
Hmm.
I do it for myself, and maybe
Hmm.
like it to actually follow a career in that. But I want to do it for myself. So where from your masters?
So the first one I did it from India, from IGNU, which is an open university because of art. You know how it is when you're shooting and all; it becomes difficult to kind of enroll into a
I,
proper university as such, where you have to attend.
yeah.
And my second one I'm doing from Harvard, so it's an online offline program, and I was supposed to go to Harvard in June, but I'm here because of
Oh,
this situation. Yeah, but hopefully next year I should be able to go and complete my second master's. But otherwise, I'm doing it online. They have an online section of it, so it's very interesting. It's really it keeps me busy. It keeps me on my toes. So I just finished stress, resilience, and coping,
okay.
which was anyway. I can talk about it for us. So the focus is not on me today; it is on you. So we'll stick to that. So being a psychology student, was that your interest as a baby, as a child, growing up, or was it acting and psychology you just did because you wanted to finish the education part of it, so to say?
So the other way around. Like acting was never part of my life. It was never a part, like it's a team of things. Psychology was something. I mean, around my ninth or 10th grade is when I started. I even found out about a subject called psychology, because I was like, and all of that. So I used to often ask my parents that, I really enjoy reading about like the human mind and stuff. So, what is the subject for that? And they, because I was a science student, so they used to really discourage me, about psychology because because psychology is a humanities subject. Arts, they were like, "Nahi, nahi." And I was really good in biology. Biology was one of my favorite subjects. So, stick to, you become a psychiatrist and, this and that. So I said, okay, I'll be a psychiatrist till I realized that you have to study medicine.
Yeah.
And like the medicine, then 1 year of like your internship and all of that. And then you get to specialize in psychiatry, like in your. So I was like, nahi, main itna nahi pad sakti.
It's a lot. Ask me about it. I mean, I did MBBS and then I did psychology. So, yes. But it's important. I feel I agree with you that psychology should be it should be taught in schools. It should be part of the curriculum. It just helps you so much. And I wish I'd known
basics, and then you can maybe, study it in colleges. So for me, actually, the year that when I in 11th standard, 11th grade is when you choose your stream, right?
Yeah.
And I went into 12th is when they introduced psychology in my school, and I was just like, oh no, But then, thankfully, because I had bio in school, so that helped me in psychology in my college. So then that's how I got into psychology, and again I really enjoyed it, and especially my final year, because final year we had like I did specialization in clinical psychology and psychology. So for me these were the two very interesting. Suddenly it became interesting because up until like season one I would say. In first year college it was very like introductory, in every philosophy of psychology, every school of psychology. See, India, it was more about statistics and research in all of that. Finally, in third year is when the curriculum got very interesting, clinical abnormal psychology, which is why I was attracted to psychology. Practical stream of advertising and consumer psychology, because uska used to be in front of us, consumer psychology constantly in our daily life. So the two things, and but after that I decided, when acting happened and there were other things, like I was a little disillusioned with the psychology as a professional choice. So I kind of, anyway, I was looking to make a shift, and then by then I had already done a few acting things, like while I was in college I had started.
How did that begin? When did it start? How did it culminate into who you are today? What has been the journey as an actor?
It's very strange. Like I often say this, like especially with respect to acting, that it, like, I didn't choose it; it chose me. I genuinely, that happened because when Disney was doing this show called Dhoom Machao Dhoom, they were looking for, and it was a kids show. It was a school, like a group of 4 girls in school. So they were looking for very young people to portray characters, and people from schools and colleges. And I used to dance a lot at the time. So I remember my teacher had told me that I should go and try out for that. And I was like, no, I can't act. I've never acted. And she's like, no, you're a performer. I know, like you or whatever. Whatever. I went and auditioned, and I didn't even know what an audition was. They just gave me these lines. They said, these are the lines we want you to read. And I said, okay. And they were basic lines or whatever. That, or ho gaya. And before they were like, shooting in Bombay, so can you come and this and that. So
where were you? You're not from Mumbai.
No, I'm from Delhi.
Okay.
So suddenly I was like, wait, what? And it didn't even hit me at the time. And I told my parents were also like, even they were very confused. Like, one part of their brain was telling them that no, wrong, that, how acting and this.
So nobody in your family is from this field. Nobody is an actor. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Then it's quite a.
So for them, it was a bit of a shocker. Another part of them telling them that, it's a like, why not? She's interested. So then, like, there was and Disney is very meticulous with their permission and that. So made sure that, and all of us, all the girls, except for one girl, most of us were from Delhi. Our parents that they will be taken care of, and all of Bombay. It was a matter of 2-3 months. We finished shoot, went back. I went back to studying this, that. Then, and it became very popular. The show was very popular with like teenagers and teens. Then after that, again, when I was in college, I got my first film offer. Even that, I was like, like, I'll have to leave and go, and this. Now, my sister was the one who convinced me. She said, "Listen, don't be stupid. You should just, like, nobody gets a film offer in their lap. Just go." I said, "Okay." I did that. Came back. At the time my college was getting over, it just so happened that the film released, Amras, which was the name that released, and didn't do well at all. But a lot of the reviews that came out for the film had all mentioned my name, like in she put out as a performer, and she did this, that something here, maybe it for this option. And anyway, like, finally, and I had to decide that. So, can I let Bombay for it and try and see, what can I do with it? And then, then we'll see how it goes. And that 1 year never got over. That 1 year.
That's like me. After my MBBS, I got admission for MD Gynec, and then of course in the meanwhile I participated in a beauty pageant. I won that, and offers started coming. So I was facing a similar dilemma, like how do I do this? How do I manage? So I said, okay, I'll give it a year. I'll have a look around what's happening in this different field from what my choice was. But well, it never, that 1 year just extends forever. It's very difficult then to go back. All right. So then how did Four More Shots? Because I think that is what released right now in the lockdown, and everybody I know has pretty much binge watched it. Nobody has kind of spaced it. A, it was so interesting, and B, because one had already had the flavor of it in season 1. And it was a little different from what typically an Indian series has been till date. So it was not the stereotypical kind of a series. How has that journey been for you?
So, Aditi, acting in Bombay, I was being stereotyped in a certain kind of character, which was this bubbly Punjabi girl. For some reason, people were only giving me these parts, and I had become like fed up. I had for these auditions, and then when pictures happened and tripling, and that kind of changed my perception of the industry and outside. So when More Shots came, because of the story, that was her conflict. So that's how I ended up doing season 1. And of course, I had a great time. And then, of course, once I was on board, then everything just like kind of worked out.
Everything it looked like you girls had a blast. I mean, it is evident, one can see through the whole fun aspect of the shoot as well. It looked like a lot of fun. But you also did a serious role with 377 Abnormal, the film that we both were part of, and it was quite a different role. What made you say yes to that kind of a role?
Again, so when I met Farooq for that, he asked me to come and visit him in his office, and he wanted to discuss this the project. And I went and met him, and he told me that it's not. He just told me, he said it's a very slightly fictionalized account of real facts.
Yeah.
And that, and and the whole, like, we all know about the verdict. We all know, like September 2018, there was a it abolished Section 377, all of
Yeah.
that. But we didn't know the journey of that verdict, of that fight to get that verdict. Precisely what the film. And I thought it was a very interesting take. Like, it wasn't a completely fictional account where, there's a story about a homosexual couple or a homosexual person trying to come out or fight that and all. It wasn't. It wasn't even a documentary style drama, but it was a very slightly fictionalized story and different tracks. Those people who were, mainly like who were the most prominent people in the fight to get that section. So that I think was very. I thought it was a mistake, and nobody thought of doing that before. And then about the character and again, my first reaction was, I want to do this. I want to do this. And read up a little more on this particular character. And Farooq told me that she's a very private person, so you won't find much about her online and stuff. And I said, okay, cool, because I was also worried that I've never played a real life person before. So, and that comes with its own set of responsibilities, I feel like, So I said, okay. Then I went and looked up online. I didn't find anything. Farooq was right. There was nothing on that lady. So then I said, okay, that's also, I have very little information, and the rest of it I can build, and we can create together. Okay. And of course, that was another lovely experience.
It was wonderful, wasn't it? No, I think maybe because, when you sent me a little short bio data of yours, you said that you are working for gay rights and the communities as such. And I am working with the transgender community right now. In this lockdown, I've started sessions for them. And I do feel strongly for them because it is a marginalized and an extremely vulnerable community. There is very less awareness about it. And when, again, 377 happened and I met you and I saw, of course, your character, and I was like, wow, this is amazing that you played this role so beautifully and so naturally. How did you prepare for it?
No, and the funny part is, I mean, not that I was ever the community. So much. Actually, through this, that I started understanding, I started realizing, and and suddenly my mind opened up to this. And the funny thing is, I've always been interested in studies, but I'd never seen it through the spectrum of sexuality. So that actually 377 Abnormal kind of introduced me to that, and then it just opened up a world of knowledge and information, and I was just like, in fact, through the production and then the promotions of the film, we met a lot of people from the community, a lot of activists who are working for the gay rights and gender equality rights. So in terms of preparation, I remember I told Farooq was very clear that I asked him, I said, is there a particular physicality that you're looking at in terms of body language, or like more I hate the word tomboy, but like that slightly more mannish behavioral gesture. And Farooq categorically that no, I don't do any of that, because that will only play into the stereotype, and we don't. And since we have the liberty of molding the character the way we want to, and the whole point of the film, besides showing the struggle to get the act abolished, is also to break a lot of stereotypes and myths have around LGBTQI community. So I was like, okay, cool. So that took care of the physical section of it. Now when it came to like the mood and the emotional aspect, and again, that was at the core of it, it's love. At the core, love. And the character that I played, Sharmili, she was so repressed as a person, and not her family or upbringing. She actually belonged to a very progressive family and progressive upbringing. But somehow the world around her, the society and stuff, she was so repressed that she became a shy person. She became a reserved person, So now these are understandable things, right? Like, so it's not different from being a heterosexual. If you're a straight person, but you are constantly told that you're bullied and you're made fun of, or you're constantly been told something is wrong with, so obviously you'll withdraw in your shell and you become a very reserved and quiet person. And that's what happened with Shalmali also. And so much so that she didn't even fight for section 377 to get abolished. It was her mother who was fighting. So I didn't have to play any differently, in the sense that there was no specific homosexual aspect of it. I just had to play it was danger as, I mean, her being a homo happened to be uh yeah.
So the different roles that you had played, how do you prepare? So suppose a director or a producer comes to you and narrates the story to you and says that this is your character. How do you analyze it? How do you bring out the small nuances that make up that character? Because if we see everybody on this chat has also been calling you Hormonal Patel and Siddhi Piddi and Sidhu and all these things, because it just left such a strong and powerful impression on people's psyche, and that comes from these details, these little nuances which you brought out very beautifully as Siddhi Patel, or even 4377. How do you bring that about? How do you prepare for your role?
So Aditi, you have to start what you have at hand, which is the script. I feel that everything that we know about the character is already written in the script. We just have to know how to find it. So because we just look at the script in terms of lines, a lot of characters in fact would only look at their lines, but much more script. Even in the directions in a script, it can say that, example, if there is a scene, uh, mother and me, let's say, for Sneha, so if that reading her book when her mother walks in, but another scene it says that the minute her mother walks in, Siddhi gets up to welcome her. So obviously there is a difference, right? In the first, probably Siddhi, the reason she doesn't respond to her mother coming in, it could mean many things. It could mean that maybe she doesn't, I mean, either they have a very good relationship where her mom's presence makes no difference to her. I mean, it's just like a friend, or she's angry with her mother that her mom's walked in, not even responded to her. Then you see another line, then what does she say in the next line? So it always works starting from the script. You work backwards, then you kind of adding and building onto the character, and then I finally feel it all boils down to, ultimately there are just 4 or 5 emotions that, like, the human existence has. Everything else is a mixture of all, like your primary emotions, your primary grief, jealousy,
so your psychology comes into the picture here.
Yeah, and then everything, it's just, you have to understand. I think the going exactly into the psyche of the character, you have to understand why. Like, I could, if I come in, if I say, "Hi Riti, you look nice today," so it can be said in so many different ways depending on where it's from. Am I saying it because I genuinely think you're looking nice today? Am I saying it because I need something from you, so I want to get in your good books? Am I saying it am I just saying it because I'm just saying it absent-mindedly, because I'm like, oh, hey, and I've gone and done my own work. So you have to understand why someone is saying, and automatically, I think the nuance comes in your, I mean, once you that mindset or in that mood, if it will come and seem natural as well.
So basically, you read the entire script, you read other actors' lines also to get a perspective on how your character will react to certain things in certain situations, because that kind of, again,
with each character.
Sorry, I missed the beginning of what you just said.
No, I'm saying you have to read the other person's lines also to understand what your character's relationship is with that person. Because not every there are some scenes where you're not speaking anything, you're just sitting and you're reacting to your co-actors. So for that, it's very important for you to know that, like in 4 More Shots, there are 3 other co-actors, and my relationship can't be like Siddhi's relationship with the three girls is not the same. It's different with different characters. So how is she going to react to a Damini telling her her problem, or an Anjana telling her a joke, or an Umang saying something about her day? So, it will all be different. That's why it's very important. The script is the Bible. There's a
So
reason.
you read the scenes where you are not present also?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
you read the entire script pretty
Yeah,
much.
for sure. Like 2-3 readings are definitely like the whole script, and then as you get closer to the shooting date, then you start only focusing on your part.
Right. Right, right. Okay, okay. So a question that is there on everybody's mind, is there a season 3, and if so, when is it releasing? We all are really looking forward to it.
There's definitely a season 3. We were now
That's what I thought.
get to start shooting for it because of this lockdown.
Oh dear, so we'll have to wait for some time.
Yeah.
So in this lockdown, how are you keeping yourself busy? What is it that you've learned about yourself? Because a lot of guests I spoke to on this chat have come up with really different kind of insights, which were really interesting. So what is that one insight, or many, if you want to share, please feel free to tell me what is it that came up in this lockdown, since you are staying all alone.
One was that I consider myself an extrovert, and I've always thought that I'm a, that's where I derived my home and all of that. But I was surprisingly very comfortable with the lockdown initially. Like I was like, wow, I think I'm built for the self-isolation thing. So that was my first discovery, that actually, and then maybe I'm not so much of an extrovert. I mean, of course, I like hanging out and meeting people and stuff. But maybe there's also this one part of me that did nurturing, which is like just by myself and me time. Also, last 1 year, I'd had a very busy year. I have just gone from one project. So I realized that I needed this. I needed this time to just breathe and like sit back and enjoy. Is that I've realized that I can survive on my own.
By
I
yourself,
could
you're
never.
very comfortable with yourself, and you are just fine. How do you spend your day? What have you been? Do you live by a timetable, or you just take each day as it comes? So what kind of a person are you?
I tried routine. I tried working for me, because I would end up, and it is like every day is different. I feel like like I was telling you, sometimes you wake up and you start reading the news and your whole day is spoiled, and you wake up feeling very active and positive, and then that's the tone the rest of the day takes. So I realized that it's fine to take each day as it comes, one day, and and anyway, there's no rush, I don't have anywhere to be. There's no timelines. Shall I turn on the light 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, better, huh?
Yes.
So I realized that you have to take each day as it comes, and then a couple of things that I do. Obviously I have to cook because I have to eat. Workout is something that I'm doing every day, whether it's when, but I'm not restricting myself to any particular time. There are times when I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is a workout, but there are times when I do it like the last thing in the before I like after my day has finished, then I'll do my workout and then go to sleep or whatever. So yeah, I've started reading a lot again. I used to not get time to read.
So
Cooking.
what's the book that you're reading currently?
Currently, there are two. I'm reading a comic book series, and the other one I'm reading is a non-fiction called Inferior.
Sorry?
Inferior.
Okay. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah. How in the scientific scientific circles, how unequal that is when it comes to gender. Like, how women have automatically told that they are the weaker sex and the inferior sex. And
yeah.
so, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why.
Oh, that's great. So, Manvi, thank you. Thank you for coming. I did promise you that it will be a half an hour live, and we have actually crossed the half an hour, but it was such a joy speaking to you. Thank you for spreading the positivity. If there is one message that you want to give to the listeners during this lockdown, what would it be?
I think we should take this time, as in people like us who are privileged enough to have a house and have the resources. I think we should take respect, because rarely do we get. Are we living the life where time matter? Like suddenly time has dissolved. So
Yeah.
it's the perfect inwards to on ourselves, and because everybody's perspective will be different, his experience will be different. What from this lockdown? So just like getting acquainted, reacquainted with yourself, with what works, what doesn't work in terms of everything, in terms of food, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of people that you surround yourself with, in terms of ideologies, and and then just work on that. Like, go into a self discovery, self exploratory kind of mode, meditate, read up on, I think it's everyone should be spiritual, so that would be a great thing. If so, for people who are spiritual, they can go deeper into that. For people who aren't, they can maybe introduce themselves to spirituality and find whatever it is that suits you, and find that, and then maybe work on that, I guess.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on Dr. A Talks. And like I said, for spreading the positivity, the positive person that you are. We all could feel the vibes. God bless you. And looking forward to seeing many, many more acting roles because I know that you play such different and varied roles. And it's a joy to watch you on screen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.